Hello, hello. Welcome to another rendition of Kingdom's Evolution. And I was talking to my daughter as I was driving out to work, and I'm like, what should I do my show about today? The show is called Kingdom's Evolution. And I'm thinking, well, the show was about humankind evolving in the creator's plan and bringing heaven and earth closer together. And I found it. So why shouldn't I just keep talking about LifeWave? Because why wouldn't I keep talking about LifeWave? I saw the coolest video this morning. I'm addicted to reels. All right, I know I'm not the only one on this planet that's addicted to reels. So let me see if I can get this microphone right. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I know I'm not the only one addicted to reels. So watching the reels, and one of the reels was conception, when an actual human being is conceived, when the sperm actually enters the egg and creates life. And the video was an image showing a flash of light when that happens, and it was just so beautiful. And that's we're made in light. We're made with light. We're made in the light. And so that was, to me, that was kind of the inspiration of my show. Light is God's messenger. Light is God's messenger. And that is how we're going to evolve as a species. And that's what LifeWave has. So get on board. Get on board the LifeWave train. Call me, email me, text me, message me, but get on board the LifeWave train, because our inventor, the owner of the company, David Schmidt, has been graced by God. He is, I call him the Leonardo da Vinci of our era. So how long has it been since we've had a Leonardo da Vinci? And Leonardo da Vinci told us of God through his painting. David Schmidt, the owner of LifeWave, has over 150 inventions, and he's showing us God's light through his brilliance, through his imagination, through his invention, through his product, through his communication. And he's sharing that, and God is using David Schmidt to bring heaven and earth closer together. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Final answer, A. This is God working through David Schmidt, a believer in the Christ, incredibly intelligent human being. Probably is, I put his intelligence up there with anybody that's ever been on the planet, with Trump, with Musk. The difference is David Schmidt has dedicated his life to science, to invention, to making the world better for humankind. And there are other people that have other talents, right? So you can't have, this is truly the golden age. This is truly the golden age of humankind, because God has taken all these wonderful people, all these incredibly talented people, and they've all come to help us have a better life, live in a golden age. So why are they all helping us right now? Why has Elon Musk teamed with Donald Trump? Why is RFK Jr. teamed with Donald Trump? So those brilliant people are bringing God's light and God's gift to them, their love for humankind, to a different aspect of the evolution of humankind. And the coup de grace, baby, is David Schmidt and LifeWave. That is the ice. That is the cherry on top of the icing, on top of the ice cream, on top of the sprinkles. LifeWave is the cherry on top from God. That's my. How else? Light is God's way of communicating with it. Let me explain to you why I'm saying this. Light is God's way of communicating with us. There's light. We emit light when we're created in the womb. Okay, we have the sun that gives us life. It's light from the sun that gives us life. Without the sun, we'd be the moon. There wouldn't be anything growing on this planet without the sun, without the light from the sun. There wouldn't be anything. It's the stars. The stars are lights. So what would our world be like without the stars? What if the only light that we had was the sun? We've got the stars. The stars tell us where to go, told us where to go, told us how to navigate the seas. The stars are another way for God to message us that there's more out there than just us. So how many other ways? So God messaged us through fire, through the light of fire. God messaged us through lightning with electricity for light bulbs, so that we could evolve. We could become more learned, more civilized, share more information at all hours of the night. I'm just trying to think of all the different ways God, with our eyes, we can see light, we can interpret light, we can behold light. It's very difficult if humankind couldn't interact with light. We had no eyes, we wouldn't exist. So it's through light. Light is God's messenger. We are creatures of light from birth, and I would even argue to you that we are creatures of light today, through the bioluminescence that the human body emits. We emit not infrared light, not heat light. We actually emit a form of light called bioluminescence. So we can't see the light that emanates from our body, but it's there. They can put it on the spectrum and they can show it to you. I've seen it. You can look up bioluminescence. It's not infrared light. It's a different type of light. So in a way, we are already communicating with God because we are of the light. And that goes for every human being. So Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, that God loves all of us because we are all human beings are made in the image of God. And I would tell you that the image of God is light, and that light's in every human being. And that's one of the reasons that makes Trump so special, is because he sees that light. He sees that light in all people. He sees that light in all people: Muslim, Hindu, Ukrainian, Russian. And the tragedy for Trump is that light's being extinguished. And he wants to stop the bad people from extinguishing those lights. And that's, again, makes him a messenger of God who's at the right place. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Woo! He's got the sneezies, man. I had those last night. They were just, I couldn't stop them. And apparently neither can he. All right, so we've got this whole light thing going on. And let me just make sure I didn't miss any. So one of the things I would mention to you is how does God heal us? So I would tell you from personal experience that God heals us with light. So when God intercedes in your world through prayer, that light is what God uses for that intercession. Because that's how God, I believe that's how God communicates with us. I do believe that's how he heals us, is with light. All right, so light. So you're saying, okay, Joe, we get it. God is light. Love God. Do I put in an extra light bulb? Do I bring in an extra lamp for my house at night? No, that's not what I'm talking about. So what the heck is LifeWave, and why is LifeWave you've been wrong about a lot of things, JoJo, and I have been. I admit it. I was a terrible stock picker. Oh gosh, terrible stockbroker. The only thing I did when I went into the brokerage business was make my clients broker. I didn't get rich doing it. Never tried to get rich doing it. Um, I didn't. I wanted to make my clients rich, but man, I was terrible. I just not that smart. I'm just, there's people a lot smarter than me. You know, I I don't want to say I was dinged with the dumb stick, but man, I have trouble reading. I'm probably dyslexic, so it takes me where some people could read, you know, 10 pages in 10 minutes. It would take me a half an hour to read 10 pages because the way my brain processes the written word, it's difficult. So even though I've written a book, I think what people will find is my book is interesting, but it's a hard read. Well, it's a hard read because I'm a hard read because it's hard for me to write as as other people read. So I can only write as I read. And so my story, Fortress Portmore, written about my childhood, was it's a hard read, and so I get it, but I want to make it into a Netflix series or a movie, something fun, because it'll be so much easier when to watch, so much easier to watch. All right, so the healing light, life wave. So I keep harping on this life wave thing because the name of my show is Kingdoms Evolution. So bringing heaven and earth closer together. Well, I was focused on drugs. I was focused on pharmacy, on technology that was going through to help people with dementia. And Anavex is still out there. They're still doing well. They're with RFK Jr. was a huge success for humankind, getting an HHS, and I can only imagine the changes. The changes. They're so. You think the Treasury's bad. You think USAID is bad. I just want to relive something for you. I want to relive, because I had this conversation. It just kind of slipped about the FDA. So the FDA is so bad, and I want you to understand just how bad the FDA is, because I want to walk you through my total axe into the heart of FDA moment, so that you understand just how bad the FDA was before RFK Jr. got in there. So I've been involved in stocks and bonds, stocks, investing, researching growth companies my whole life. Got interested in biopharma because biopharma was where there was nothing to help people that had dementia. Nothing out there. Nothing. The Aricept, they had some drugs out there, but they were total bullshit. Total bullshit. They didn't stop anything. They barely slowed it down. It was really just a placebo to make everybody happy as people drifted into dementia. Total bullshit. But pharmaceutical companies made a lot of money from Medicare, because almost everybody that's got dementia is on Medicare, your government, your tax dollars, giving pills to people that don't do shit for them, paying for them thousands and millions and hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. Some bad side effects for Aricept, but it's who cares? They're 75 years old and they've got dementia. Who cares if they got bad side effects? They even went so far as to give people Biogen's drug for multi-million dollars. They passed it through, even though they said it didn't pass muster and was too dangerous. They gave that to people with dementia by shooting them, brain swells, dying, multi-million dollars to Biogen. Everybody wins, except, of course, the people that have Alzheimer's that are dying. They're sometimes dying even more brutal deaths than Alzheimer's, if that's possible. More painful, I'm sure. That is the one thing I'll give Alzheimer's. Death is never pretty, but it doesn't have to be insanely painful either. And my father passed away, and he wasn't in insane pain. He was not in insane pain, and it wasn't because he was drugged to the hilt with morphine. he just he died. Anyway, he just didn't die in insane pain. So that was really at that point in time when he passed away. That was really what we could ask of our Creator. It's like, please don't let my dad die in pain. Just like let him leave this world in as little pain as possible. So so all these drugs, none of them are stopping him. Drug comes on the horizon. Drug called blarcamesine, made by a little company called Anavex. It's a molecule invented by a Greek. Nobody believes it does anything. First study, this is, gosh, I don't even know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. First study knocks it out of the park. I'm so excited. Mighty Mouse. Some people come back from sitting in a lounge chair to making jokes, taking out the trash. There's this guy named, I think his last name was Emmerich or Emmerich. He was Australian. So the first 60, I call him the heroic 60 out of Australia, the 60 down under. They did the test, and it was unbelievable. I mean, the results weren't 100%, but there was real response by, say, half of the people, real response to not getting worse in a progressive disease, and some of them even, reversed and got better. It was fantastic. No bad side effects. Fantastically exciting. This was like 12 years ago. 12 years ago, right? This is when you get diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's, it is a death sentence. You're not getting better. You're going to die. You're older and you're going to die. So death sentence disease, drug with no bad side effects, and let's just say 50%. Half the people that take the drug do dramatically better than Aricept or whatever, because Aricept was really just a placebo. But half the people do better. They improve. They take a lot longer to get worse. It's half the people respond to this drug. It's like, okay, it's not 1,000 people. It's a few 60 people, whatever it is, the number of people. It's not that big a number. It's like, but wouldn't you think, with all the millions and millions and millions of people that are dying every day from Alzheimer's, that drug, that result would be a priority? Would be like, holy cow, what just happened here? Let's make this drug a priority to saving people that are dying of Alzheimer's. Well, first blow to me was no, it's not a priority. It's not a priority. The short sellers, the people paid by probably Big Pharma, come out and trash the study. Trash it. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, why are you these guys are trying to make money, but like they're not trying to hoodwink anybody. This is a study. These are the people. These are the responses. It's a clinical study. And they had placebo. They had, this is a legit study. And oh my gosh, the medical community slammed it. And when I say medical community, I mean, the financial markets, the money slammed it. And I'm thinking, these are death sentence people. There's hope with this drug. There's no bad side effects. It works in a way where they can trace it through the body. It's not causing any heart issues. It's not causing any cancer issues. It's zero issues. It's affecting a part of the body that is a healing agent for the body, the sigma-1 ligand. Like, it's safe. It's helping. Let's, forge ahead. Let's do this. No. Not the FDA. Not the FDA. This was like 10, 12, 15 years ago. Not the FDA. No. Not a priority. Not something we got to work on. Not something we got to get to right now. So Anavex has to go out and raise tens of millions of dollars more. Tens of millions. They probably spent 50, 60, 80 million dollars on clinical trials now over 10 years. And the drug just keeps helping people. Keep showing no bad side effects. Are you with me? So This probably started in 2014 when they got their first study out. 2020 rolls around. COVID. Are you feeling me? COVID comes around and old people are dying, contagious disease, and they spend billions on a vaccine. Billions on a vaccine. And it's like, well, wait a minute. We had millions of old people dying with Alzheimer's, and we had something that was helping them. Like why is the COVID such a priority for all this time? For all this time, we've had a drug that was safe and was helping people, and yet now you're going to spend billions on some treatment on flu that's killing old people. Well, Alzheimer's is killing old people. Like, why does Anavex have to go out and spend, raise 60 million, 100 million of its own from investors to save old people from dying, when the government's going to come out and spend, billions and billions finding a vaccine for a flu that kills old people? That's the first shot. Like, wait a minute. Like, what's something's not right. Something's not right. Yeah, something's not right. Because Big Pharma didn't own blarcamesine. Anavex wasn't Big Pharma. They were a small little $100 million, $50 million biopharma, and they couldn't grease the skids. And the other slam that we can understand about Anavex was there weren't any negative side effects to the blarcamesine. So if you took blarcamesine, maybe you got better, maybe you didn't get as bad as quickly, but there weren't any. You didn't need another drug. It didn't work with another drug. You just needed blarcamesine. So what's the incentive for Big Pharma if your drug doesn't make the patient need another drug and another drug and another drug, if it doesn't hurt the kidneys? You see all these side effects from these drugs that they tell you on TV. That's why they get approved, because they have all those bad side effects. Because, yeah, it's going to help some people, and the medical community can live with that. But you know what it's going to do for other people? They're another drug. Go to the hospital. Feed the machine that has become the U.S. healthcare system. So it's still, disappointed, frustrated, still gung-ho, love America. The FDA is just practicing, safe science. Okay, all right, well, another clinical trial, another success by blarcamesine. But 2020 happens. COVID hits. Billions on vaccine, billions on treatment. They ignore Dr. Zeb Zelenko. Ignore him. I'm screaming at them. So this guy in New York, and we're going to relive this because why not? Let's just relive it. And we'll get back to the light in a moment, because we've got to understand the darkness. We got to understand what's happening right now is we're shining light on the darkness. So this is the light coming into the darkness, and I want you to understand what the darkness is. Zeb Zelenko, New York, cures, I think it's 699 out of 700 of his patients don't even have to go to the hospital. Middle of COVID, beginning of COVID, middle of COVID, he gets excited. He writes Trump a letter. Says it's hydroxychloroquine, zinc. I think there were 4 things. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 4. It might have just been 3, but I think it was 4. Hydroxychloroquine, vitamin D3, zinc, and quercetin. Although he may have been using like the word's not going to come to me, but an infection, like an anti-infection drug. All the drugs, all of them off patent, all of them safe. All of them safe used together. 699 out of 700 of his patients don't have to go to the hospital in the middle of the pandemic, and they survive. So he writes a letter to Trump, and he says, here's what he's not trying to hide it from anybody. He's not trying to say you got to go to Dr. Zelenko's clinic to get the treatment. He's saying he sends a letter to Trump and outlines the Zelenko protocol. He outlines what he's been giving all of his patients, and it all makes sense. And all of his patients, 699 out of 700, don't even have to go to the hospital, and they're piling. So this is New York. The bodies are piling up outside the hospital because everybody's dying in New York. Zelenko sends a letter to Trump with his protocol that got 699 out of 700 people to not even have to go to the hospital. And most of these people exhibited coughs or exhibited like they had the COVID. Do they embrace Zeb with all these safe drugs? Do they immediately switch over to the Zelenko protocol at all the hospitals and say, hey, this Zelenko protocol is saving people. It's saving people. Give it to the nursing homes. Let's give it to a couple nursing homes. Let's give it to a couple hospitals. Let's just try this Zelenko protocol. It's safe. All the drugs are off patent. They've already been approved by the FDA. Let's try this. Let's try to save our people. That would be the natural human reaction to Dr. Zelenko protocol. Absolutely human. So what happens? They attack the news media paid for with your money. The medical community paid for with your money. The politicians, the news media. What do? Do they promote the Zelenko protocol? No. They attack the Zelenko protocol. They attack Zeb Zelenko. They attack this doctor. They shame this doctor. They shame his patients into turning their back on him. It was surreal. It was just surreal, and I'm sitting there going, Lord, I've followed this. I understand what he's talking about. Why wouldn't we do this? This makes all the sense in the world. He's had 600. I did a lot of shows on this. 699 to 700 people. So that's like running the same play on a football field and scoring a touchdown every play. So 699 plays. You run the same play on offense, and 699 times you score a touchdown. It's like by the 7th. So one time they stop you. One time they figure it out and they stop you before you get the end zone. What? So what play are you going to call the 700th and first time? You're going to call the same play that's worked for you 699 times and see if you can score 699 more times out of 700. And what's at stake? People dying. That's not what they do. What do? They let those people die. And then you go, okay, all right, back up. Let's back up. So there weren't enough. So 700 people is not enough of something that's immediately helping people. Well, let's just take a hospital. Let's just take a hospital, one hospital, where all these people are dying, where you're buying all these machines to intubate them. Let's just take one hospital. Let's put them all on the Zelenko protocol and see what happens. No. Because that would be too quick. Because that would stop the pandemic. Because that would stop people from dying. So when you stop somebody from dying, what's that called? I call it murder. They murdered him. They killed him, murdered him, whatever you want to call it. That's what it's called. When you have a protocol that saves 699 out of 700, and you don't immediately, and it's safe, and you don't immediately put that protocol to confirm it to work at a hospital to try to save lives, that's called murder. So that's what the system did in 2020. So that blew me away. So that was total rage. Like, why aren't you doing this? We've got this. Do the Zelenko protocol. Use hydroxychloroquine. Use zinc. Use quercetin. And use zinc. And the name of the other drug still hasn't come to me. I was hoping it would come to me by the time I got back to it. But it's the drug you use to stop infection. So you get an infection, you take this drug. It's antibiotic. Thank you very much. You're welcome. So it was an antibiotic. All right. So but instead what they do is they take their time, they design these insane protocols with hydroxychloroquine in Brazil. Not, Brazil, wherever. Oh, it doesn't work. The Zelenko protocol doesn't work. It's just like, well, wait a minute. And then they make it illegal. They make hydroxychloroquine. They make it illegal. They make ivermectin illegal. They make it so you can't even use it. Then they come up with another drug. I can't think of the name of it, but another drug that they give people that actually kill. That just it's worse. It's worse than the damn. The drug itself is worse than the COVID, and they let that one through. They absolutely let that one through in the nick of time because that one was on patent. And guess what happened for Big Pharma? And guess what happened for the doctors and the nurses and everybody in the medical institutions? It had bad side effects, which meant it needed more drugs or you died. Guess what happened with people that died at the hospitals? Guess who got paid? Guess who got paid for people dying in hospitals? The hospitals. If you died of COVID, I think the hospitals got some jack. How brutal is that system? So this is 2021, and then they spend all the billions of dollars to save the old dying people, but they've had millions of old dying people through dementia for the last 2 decades. The last almost decade, they've had a drug that helped people with dementia, but they didn't. The government didn't step in to help them develop it. The government didn't step in to fast track that drug because it didn't have any bad side effects. It didn't increase the need for the medical community. So I'm getting kicked off social media boards left and right over this. I remember the funniest one was the Central West End. The Central West End, a line or whatever the media messaging board was for the Central West End, because in the Central West End, there's a lot of medical community. And I remember getting into arguments with nurses and other medical professionals. They'd be like, "You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor." It's just like, thank God. Thank God I'm not a doctor. Because I can see what's happening. I can see what you guys are doing. It's just like, it's terrible what you guys are doing. It's like, so I would get kicked off. I've been kicked off LinkedIn like 3 times. I'm done with LinkedIn. I'm done with LinkedIn. Don't get on LinkedIn, talk about China or COVID or Big Pharma. You're done. They just don't even bother. If you're on LinkedIn, God bless you, God love you, but for goodness sake, don't talk about China and don't talk about COVID, because they're going to kick your ass right off and destroy anything you've tried to build on LinkedIn. But so I got kicked off Facebook, I got kicked off LinkedIn, I got kicked off X. I mean, it was like, who the hell's going to listen? It's probably, who the hell's going to listen to my show other than on Kingdom's Evolution? But the coup de grace, the absolute coup de grace, was when they came out with this vaccine. And they told everybody, and they did the not UNICEF. What is is it UNICEF? What is that? United Way. They did the United Way guilt trip to get people to take the vaccine. You know what? So if you don't take the vaccine, you might get your grandparents sick and you'll be a killer. What? What did you just say? Well, the vaccine, it stops anybody from getting COVID. It stops you from spreading it. Bullshit. And then do you remember Joe Biden got COVID 10 times? It didn't stop anybody from getting COVID. It didn't stop anybody from spreading it. But what it did do was it put mRNA in your body and other things. We don't know exactly what other things, but it put messenger RNA in your body telling your body, your good, healthy cells, to do something bad. Now, just on a logical standpoint, okay, your body's out there, its cells are working, trying to get better. When you put, what is a healthy cell, what is it called when a part of your body, stay with me, when one of your cells in your body tells another one of your cells in your body to do something bad? What's that cell called? What's the cell called? What's the message from the cell that tells another cell to do something bad in your body right now? Do you want to know what it's called? It's called cancer. That's right. That's what it's called. Your cancer cells are bad cells, and they message good cells and tell them to become cancer cells. That's what they do. So when you put something in your body that's good, that's bad, when you put a message in your body that tells your cells to do something bad, what's that called? Well, you may not call it cancer, but it's poison. And here's why it's poison. You've got a good cell. It's dancing around, having a nice day. Life is good. It's doing its job. It's a soldier on the wall. It's, doing whatever that cell's supposed to do, whatever that cell's directed to do by God, by your biology, by whatever. And all of a sudden, you knock on its door, knock, knock. Who's there? Oh, it's my mRNA. It's my body. It's my DNA. And it's talking to me. Hello, mRNA. What can I do for you? Well, I want you to make this spike protein. Well, that's different, but you're the DNA that, you're a messenger from my body's DNA. I'm supposed to do whatever you tell me to do because it's my body telling me to do this. So I'll make a spike protein. Imagine that cell's surprise. That good cell is a good, happy cell, having a great life, having a great day. Imagine that cell's surprise when all of a sudden, all the other cells start attacking it. Like, what the hell? I was just making a spike protein. You guys told me to make a spike protein. I made a spike protein, and now all of a sudden everybody's mad at me, and you're going to come and kill me. Like, what the hell? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you tell a good cell to do something bad? No good can come of evil. No good can come from bad. Right? So, the whole mRNA thing just blew me away. Like that, this doesn't make any sense on any level. Like this, how, you can use mRNA to tell a good cell to do something good. You can use mRNA to tell a bad cell to die or to change over to doing something good. But you can't use mRNA to tell a good cell to do something bad. That's insanity. Insanity. But that's what we did. That's what we did. And here was the absolute coup de grace for me. So this jab, vaccine, whatever you want to call it, it's been in testing for 2 years. We got over, right now I think there's well over 1 million people that through Open VAERS who have reported through the vaccine reporting adverse event reporting system that have had terrible reactions to the jab, to the vaccine. We know because you've had to get multiple vaccines that it doesn't last, so it never was a vaccine. And we know that it doesn't stop the spreading. And the next thing they go to is like, well, it stops people from getting really sick. Does it? Do you think if they lied to you about it not, do you think if they lied to you about it's a vaccine and you won't get the COVID, do you think they lied to you about that? You think if they lied to you about, oh, well, you can't spread it? Well, yeah, you can. You think if they lied to you about that, do you think the same people that told you Hunter Biden's laptop isn't Hunter Biden's laptop, do you think the same people that told you you can't spread it, you won't get it, do you think they're going to lie to you that you won't get as sick because you took the jab? Of course they will. Of course they will. Because they're all making money from you getting the jab. I played golf with a guy that had six jabs. 6. I never said another word to him. I never said. We were playing at a golf tournament, and somehow it came around to COVID, and he told me, how great he felt and that he'd had 6 vaccines with the jab. I'm like, I don't know what else to say to you. Good luck. Hit a good shot. So the axe in the grind. So the drug's only out a year, 2 years. This drug, I've watched it. I've watched this drug that they give to death sentence elderly people have to go through clinical trial after clinical trial, years and years, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, whatever. These are death sentence people, a death sentence population, and they want to make sure the drug doesn't make them sick. Okay, I get. You don't want to make people worse. First to no harm. But they're death sentenced. They're going to die, and this is a drug that is helping them. But there's not a priority. There's not a rush. There's no need to hurry. Got to go through the clinical trials. Got to do what you got to do. Even though it's safe, even though it's helping people, we're not quite sure yet. Do another clinical trial. Take another 5 years. Are you with me? You with me? But the COVID jab, no. The COVID jab, we got to get out now because it's a pandemic. We got to get the COVID jab out now. It's like, well, you've just had this vaccine for like a year. I mean, you just made the vaccine. How do we know if it's safe? I mean, what's the clinical? Well, we're testing it. We're testing it on people. It's like, you're okay. So you're testing it on people. Who's running the test? Who's like, what's like, it's safe. Like what? Like, wait, what? It's safe? Everybody can take it. Like what? Like within, so like a vaccine that's supposed to last you for decades about not getting COVID is now all of a sudden it's safe. And we just developed the vaccine, a month ago to a year ago. Like, but it's safe for everybody. Like what the hell? Like, if you guys can tell it's the vaccine that's got mRNA in it is safe after a year, that's really complicated. Why the hell have we been waiting 10 years for this drug that helps people that are death sentenced to dementia? Like that doesn't make any sense. That's illogical. Like if you can tell a drug is safe for people to take in 2 years, why have we been allowing death sentence dementia patients to die for the past 6-7 years while we have a safe drug that's clinically shown to help people that are dying of dementia? Right? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense until you follow the money and the process of the FDA getting money from the people that get the money, and the process of the doctors and the nurses and the hospitals that all get their money from the government now because of Medicare. Whew. And then the axe fell when they said you could give it to kids and young adults. Like that was it for me. That was just cut the line, just axe down through the line. It's like these people are cold-blooded. Not just are they going to make money off the elderly dying, they're going to make off the young dying, and they have, and it's been tragic. And I just wish I would have done more. Honest to God, I ranted and raved on my show. Got kicked off at the show. Got kicked off Facebook. I might get kicked off Facebook again. It's life, baby. Kick me off again. So here we are. So that's, I don't even know how I got into that rant, but that's where I am with the medical community. And if you're at a different place, God bless you. But if what I just said made sense, then maybe you should think about what the medical community has in store for you. I'm hoping RFK Jr. comes in with that same axe and digs it out, ends what they've become, and really changes the horizon for human health. Make America healthy again, not just with food, but with pharma, because there's so much more. Medicine uses. So you think. So here you go. So you think it's bad that the federal government, when you want to retire from it, they've got this cave, and nobody believed it. They all thought it was a funny story, but literally caveman stuff. They use floppy disks in the military, and they got a cave with records somewhere for federal employees to retire to get their retirement papers. I'm not making that up. I'm not making it up. You think those are bad? You think those are bad, right? Wait till you find out what RFK Jr. finds at the FDA, because all of this thievery at USAID, this thievery from the Defense Department, all of it is going to be dwarfed by what is happening at the FDA. Dwarfed. All right. So, to me, we're at a time of the prophets. Donald Trump, prophet. Elon Musk, prophet. RFK Jr., prophet. David Schmidt, prophet. We are at the golden age of humankind evolving into something more than what we've been for the last 2,000, because we evolved when Jesus Christ died and gave us the Holy Spirit. We evolved then. You go back 2,000 years ago when civilization started with Jesus Christ, and that's really the start of civilization. That's the start where we get to reach out to God, and God hears us. Before that, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. Go back as long as you want, and you will see that man did not evolve very far. He did not get very far without Jesus Christ, without the Holy Spirit. It was the Holy Spirit that really evolved man with kingdom's evolution, with God, that brought heaven closer to earth with the Holy Spirit through Jesus Christ. So we are in the age. I'm 64, and I feel so blessed to be in this age with all these prophets, all these wonderful human beings that have sacrificed. And I wouldn't call the J6ers prophets, but I would call them heroes. I would call the people that have suffered and have prayed and have suffered for this Constitution, for this country. I would call them absolute heroes, and perhaps their call out to God was heard. Donald Trump's call out to God. So our Creator has heard our pleas. Our Creator is answering us, and He's answering us in beautiful ways. Beautiful ways. So I'm running out of time. So let me get to what I think is another, because if Donald Trump hadn't been there, I don't mean to be mean about this, but David Schmidt and Lifeway wouldn't matter. And you're like, Joe, that's harsh, man. I'm just telling you the truth. Because if Donald Trump hadn't won, they would have taken away David Schmidt's patents. And when they realized the lack of money that the pharmaceutical company is making, well, they've already given vaccines to your young people. Do you think the same people that did that are going to let a beautiful, miraculous, light messaging water that creates instant energy and better health? Do you think they're going to let that water get into the hands of the common folk, of the people that they've built these memory care facilities for people to die in? Do you think everybody's going to have access to that water? No. No. They would have made the water machines, but you would have had to have been an oligarch or a party member or part of the depopulation plan to get the water machine, right? David Schmidt wouldn't have owned it because he wouldn't have sold his soul, but the oligarchy would have owned it. They would have owned the patents. They would have owned the manufacturing, and they would have had select who got the water, who got the BioLite water. But that's not what God. That was not God's plan. This was not God's plan. God's plan is more brilliant than we can ever imagine. And the BioLite water is bringing heaven closer to earth because the image of God, the light, us, this water is going to increase our light. It's going to increase our BioLite because David Schmidt has been shown how to not just put photons of light. It's not just like he's flashing light in the water and there's little sparkly things in it that go into your body. He's literally put messaged light. So he's been able to code a photon, and then mix it into the water. I mean, it's crazy. He's put a code on a photon. I mean, come on, guys. Let's just think about that for a second. A coded photon. So are you with me on that? Like a photon, I don't even know how small a photon is or what. I know it's an element of light, right? But how the heck do you code a photon? Like how do you write a message on a photon? Copper peptide agonizer, please. But he's done it. He's done it. And that's what's coming in July of this year. He's put a message on a photon and put it in water, and you get to drink it. And you know what happens after you drink it? Your bioelectrical charge zooms, your everything in your body, these patches, the X39 patches, these little patches, when it sees your bioluminescence increase, these X39 patches, a greater light, your bioluminescence increases. This reflects your bioluminescence back into your body and tells it to make more copper peptides. Guess what happens? You get healthier. You get healthier. So David Schmidt is all about making us younger, and this BioLite water is a miracle unto God, and it's coming in July, and it will be the next evolution of humankind. First was Jesus Christ. The second is going to be this water. So get ready. Get ready for the golden era, because it began with the election of Donald J. Trump. And there's a lot of prophets that are hearing the word of God, that are seeing the light. RFK Jr., Elon Musk, David Schmidt, and you will soon have the ability to drink this water, July. You have the ability right now to put that patch on and talk to your body's light to increase your copper peptides, mobilize your stem cells, get better now. And I'll leave you with this. Why you should call me right now. When you buy a new car, okay, and you're about to drive that new car off the lot, you're excited, everything's great, the new car's running great, you're excited about it, what do? You call your insurance agent. Why do you call your insurance agent? It's a new car. You're just driving off the lot. You call your insurance agent because you want to bind the insurance to that moment. Well, why do you want to bind the insurance to that moment? Because you have no idea. You don't know when you're going to need insurance. You don't know when you're going to need it, right? You don't know if someone's going to run a red light. You don't know if you're going to be distracted by your phone. You don't know if you're going to get a flat tire, run over a nail, turn into another car. You don't know. So you buy insurance. So that's what the X39 is. It's insurance. Is it going to stop you from having an accident? Maybe not. Maybe not. But it's gonna increase your copper peptides. It's gonna mobilize your stem cells so that if you do have an accident, it's gonna try to repair you as quickly as possible if it can. Before you drive off the lot. So call me. It's lifewave.com/Joseph Finn. Call me. Bind your health today. And then when the water gets here, it's going to make your binding even better. You're going to increase your policy, your policy limit. Because why not? Oh my gosh, your health policy limit, you're going to increase it when the water comes out because you're going to increase your bioluminescence with the light in the water. These are glorious times. Thank the great Lord that he's seen fit to let me see it. So excited about being able to be a part of it with LifeWave, and I would love to have you join my team. My team is doing incredibly well. I think I haven't looked, but I got to be close to 1,000 people, if not more. And we're growing. We're gonna start growing. Even if you don't want to do network marketing, I've signed on this great company that will help you build your team. We'll get you leads. You don't have to call family and friends. Call me. 314-749-4497. All right, everybody. So that's going to be the show because I've got somebody right behind me, and I want to hit a little bit of music. And we got to play something fun. No, let's go to this is what I feel like. Wait a minute. Yeah, we'll do this one. So listen, everybody. You guys have a great weekend. We're blessed to be at this moment. Remember that. Get excited about it. And have a great weekend.